How I get so involved and in tune with franchising is actually from China, because the market there is so robust with dealership, franchising, licensing. You don't see so much in our industry in Singapore or Southeast Asia, but there everyone is a franchisee.
My friend was running a salad store in NTU, so he needed help. So I physically went there to work for a few months. Then I thought, it's a viable business. He intend to sell it, so I bought it over. Then I went to sign another lease at SMU, sign another lease at Singapore Poly at that point of time, because my friends were in schools and they are doing very well. Then COVID hits.
The nature of a franchise is that there is the initial franchise fee, and then there's the royalty, and then of course there is the renewal fee. Generally, I would encourage franchisors not to keep looking at that franchise fee upfront, because franchise is not about only the franchise fee. It's about
Welcome back to Chills with TFC. I'm your host, Reggie, aka your Chief Financial Coconut, and we are back in the time of the year where we start to talk about franchising. Because important, because we lead up to the annual FLAsia event, right? So we will be there once again this year. This year even bigger. We bring big lights, big cameras.
Wow.
We got a 6x6 space, right? So come and join us at the event. But this is a prelude to the event, right? So we got some of the big voices from the event to come on the show to share with us a little bit more about the latest trends for 2025, right?
Yeah.
So today we focus on franchising. Another episode we'll do on licensing. So then you stay tuned, okay? But most importantly, come for the event, okay? We'll see you there. And I'm joined with an astute panel, right? So with the president, different people. So maybe walk us through first a little quick introduction about yourself and how you related to franchising.
Oh, I'm very related to franchising.
I know you are big. You have been around. Yeah.
I've been around for 20 years. Crazy passionate about franchising. So I'm really excited to be here because I get to talk about my favorite topic. My name is Hsien Naidu. I am the founder of Astreem Consulting. We've helped brands like Pezzo, the Pet Lover Center over here, Supergreen grow over the years. And more recently, my latest obsession is in franchise business operations. I truly believe that one thing is getting the franchise system set up right. The next is to find the right franchise partner. But next of all is to manage and sustain the franchisability and the growth of the operations of that single unit franchise.
Yeah. Why do you do 20 years franchising?
Why? So at first, it was a transition from corporate into motherhood because I wanted to control my time. And then what do you know? You start a few franchisers, you work, you help them grow, and then, wow, it's so exciting, so rewarding to see the brands grow. And then you want to learn more, and then you grow more brands, and then it sort of became a habit, and now it's become an addiction.
I like that. Yeah. 20 years in the game, what is your proudest?
Okay, so 20 years in the game is a dangerous question because that actually means that they have to have that sustained over time, right? So I would say like brands like Pet Lover Center, Pezzo, we didn't grow the brand, but we did manage to bring them outside of Singapore with very, very prestigious groups. But of course, the groundbreaking brand for Astreem was the Manhattan Fish Market.
Oh, that was
right?
a big brand.
So that was a brand that I take great joy in because the owners gave Astreem a lot of flexibility and trust, and we were actually able to get them to win the International Franchisor of the Year award representing Singapore. For us, that was a very, very big deal. And of course, over the years, the original founders have exited and, other things have happened to the brand. But if we're talking about 20 years, then I would say the good old days, that would have been the brand very close to my heart.
Awesome. So we'll go there later, okay, as we discuss what has changed over time, okay? And for two of you, could you do a quick introduction to our audience?
Hi, my name is Shao Wen. I am from Commune. I'm also the president of FLA. Why we do this business in franchising is because I think Singapore market is so small, and in my industry for furniture retail, a lifestyle concept, I think we are the first Singapore brand that penetrated into China by the way of franchising. So since 2012, when everyone is buying from China, I'm already selling into China. And how I get, so involved and in tune with franchising is actually from China because the market there is so robust with dealership, franchising, licensing. You don't see so much in our industry in Singapore or Southeast Asia, but there, everyone is a franchisee. Every franchisor brand is a factory owner that runs production and sell it to their own store. So we are wondering why so many years we cannot get into China because we are not a brand, we are just a factory. But then with this brand, we managed to penetrate into China, into Southeast Asia. And yeah, along the years, we have learned and grown from there. And if you ask me about franchising, I think 2012 until now, 2025 is totally different, very, very different. And as we mentioned, probably it's not so much on retail. Now my company is more like a training institute rather than anything else.
But that's very important.
Very focused on training, picking the right person, make sure there are salespeople. Because salespeople come and go.
Yeah.
So you got to use some digital form to keep them engaged, play games with them, gamification and all. I think, it's a totally different ball game.
We'll talk a little bit more about that later.
Cool.
But why then you choose to be, in some ways, like you chose to be the president, right? I mean, you've definitely voted,
Wow.
right? But you must put your name out there to get voted, right? So you sound very busy, then you still go and disturb this presidency. So what do you want to achieve out of this?
Yeah, I got nominated and I accepted the role willingly. Definitely willingly.
Must say willingly.
Yeah, because I think there is a very big gap in Singapore in this mode of business, with franchising and licensing, especially in retail industry. Because I know, education, no problem. Food, no problem. Services, no problem. But in retail, I don't see a lot of Singapore brand going out. And then in my industry, the furniture industry is even, I wouldn't say bad lah, but traditionally when we think about expanding overseas, it's either you open your own factory, open your own store, manage it yourself. So everyone is very reluctant to go because it's too much of a risk. So why I take this on is to actually educate my industry, the retail industry, that there are many forms of businesses like franchising and licensing that you can actually bring overseas rather than your traditional thinking of, I have to set up a factory that I have to hire 500 people, 1,000 people. It's not going to happen. In the world now, it's not going to happen. So I wish to bring and connect a lot of businesses and to educate them about franchising and licensing as a form of business.
Okay.
Rather, get away from that kind of mentality that, I have to put so much money and all and this and that.
Fair. So
Yeah.
come for the franchising fair. So we'll
Yes.
see you at FLAsia 2025. Okay, MBS is 18th to 20th September. Okay, yeah, we'll see you there. Yeah. And yourself, for
Hi.
audience that don't know you.
Hi, I'm Shao Rong. I run Supergreen, a salad and grain bowl brand. So I started franchising, in this franchising thing as a franchisee lah. So I actually started franchising a local coffee brand. After 10 years in army, I left. I got somebody to take over and probably lost a 5-figure there at that.
Wow.
Not doing my homework as well, not knowing how to go about doing business, how to manage manpower, how to talk to landlord, managing the rental, the operation.
Can you elaborate a little bit about that part? How do you get into this? What happened? How much do you spend? Or just give us some color.
I went to one of their outlets, it's pretty busy. So I think, maybe got chance, right? At that point of time, I was thinking about leaving the force. Okay, so I reached out to a few local coffee players because I drink coffee every day. Me and my brother was thinking, maybe can do, right? Coffee, right? We drink every day, so it's something that we can try. So we reached out. One got back to us, and then we talk, and then they say, no, you are the chosen one. You are young. You are full of energy. You are the chosen one. We don't choose everybody to be our franchisee. You are the chosen one. So I say, wow. So I'm thinking okay, cool. The other two didn't reply, right? They reply, and then we are the chosen one. Not being in business at all, right? So you think that, it's difficult to be a franchisee, and now they given us the opportunity, right? I should take it. So we sign and everything. So we followed whatever they say, how much the rental. So we were renting a 500 square feet unit at about 16, 17K. Then it was not at the best location of the mall, but we thought we could do it. So we tried. The estimated sales projection was 70,000. but we did like 30K a month. So we're bleeding.
It's horrible.
How they got us started. The training wasn't that great. I tried making coffee, but still bad at it. So the manpower, initial how they taught us how to hire. They taught us to, you need to have quota. You need to hire foreigners in order to manage the business, and then you need to have 4 in the morning shift, 4 in the afternoon shift. But they didn't account for like off days and things. So I am there for the first month, like 7 to 9 every day.
I don't think that's what people want when they start a franchise.
I mean, I was very naive. I thought I would have my freedom, right? I think, okay, I don't need to do overnight duty in the army. Right? Now I can have my freedom, but no, I'm stuck there. But in the end, I managed to learn along the way, and then we just make do with like 5 staff, and I don't need to be there. After learning, how to manage the shift, and everybody can multitask. Not like the cashier is the cashier, the coffee maker is the coffee maker. So that was then my journey as a franchisee.
Yes.
Yeah.
Then how do you end up doing Supergreen?
I didn't know what to do. Then my friend was running a salad store in NTU. So he needed help. So I physically went there to work for a few months. Yeah, then I thought, it's a viable business. He intend to sell it. So I bought it over. That was then 2020, January, when I took over. So it was like, okay, this time I can make it already because I work there and I know that it's earning money, right? So in January, then I can. Then I went to sign another lease at SMU, sign another lease at Singapore Poly. At that point of time, because my friends were in schools and they are doing very well. Then COVID hits. Yeah.
Okay,
so during COVID, I went to the COVID facility to work. But we managed to survive, government grants, and then with family and friends helping, right? When the circuit breaker was over, then people went back to school, so we were okay. And we only went out of the schools to CBD 2022. 2022, we opened our first Marina One outlet. Nice. And then we went into franchising in 2023. So now we have 11 outlets, 5 corporate owned and 6 will be franchise.
And they work with your
But yeah, may I say that actually we met at one of FLA's seminars, right? Online seminars.
Yeah.
And then I heard his story, and what gave me confidence to work with him was the fact that he's got the experience from the franchisee's perspective, right? So what he went through, he won't want another franchisee to go through. And I think to a large extent, Shao is very empathetic with what his franchisees have to go through. And I think that contributes to his steady growth since that first outlet till what Supergreen is today.
I think ultimately having the understanding on the other side is extremely important. I think for a lot of audience, they are like potential franchisees, right? So when they look at choosing a brand, choosing a franchisor, choosing all this, I think all these things do add up, into who do I ultimately work with, right?
It's not only the franchisor who chooses the chosen one. The franchisee must also understand what are the important elements to base their decisions on, and it needs to be sound. The second day of FLAsia, there's going to be a franchise mastermind event where I will spend 2 hours having a workshop with potential franchisees who are looking for Singaporean brands, either wanting to grow it in Singapore or take it overseas. And we will share about what are the elements you need to consider. I mean, obviously, know yourself first. What are all the elements? What profile are you? Number one. Next of all is look at all the other elements like what's your expectations of return on investment? How much money do you really want to invest? How much can you set aside? Because people always say don't talk about money. It's not the most important. But I can tell you, if you do not have enough money, you might not be able to stay the journey. So money is very important. Next of all is how much work do you want? Are you like a Shao Rong who actually is able to stay the journey and work and do what is needed, right? So franchisee needs to know how much time they want to invest. And finally, what are their expectations on what are they going to contribute into franchising? It's not you pay the franchise and then you just wait. But it's a game. You will get resources and then you can buy franchise and you have to explain the logic behind it. And I feel that practice makes perfect, but you don't really want to practice in a real world scenario, right?
So 150,000 practice sessions.
So franchise mastermind, go to FLAsia and you'll be able to sign up for it.
Day 2.
Day
right?
two.
Day two. Okay, we'll see you there. We'll see you there. Let's talk a little bit about how has it evolved, right? Because I think all of you have shared over the course of at least the past decade. I think there's been a lot of changes in the franchising space, right? So I want to kind of understand what are the trends, that has been happening, and what are you observing now? So as a wisdom for our audience when they're selecting the franchise, I cannot say yours is good lah, okay, right? Just trying to understand the trends, what has changed, what is happening. Yeah. So maybe President first.
Since when I started, the trend has evolved quite a lot in the more robust market like China and the Americans and all. Because of the environment, they have tweaked a lot of their franchise terms and conditions, definitely, to suit the market. For me, of course, I've been through all the training and all, and I can say that I'm not a very good student, very bad student, because I flipped the whole, franchise terms around, the SOP flip upside down, then nothing look like it anymore. It depends on how the market evolves, because different market has different requirements. In China, this kind of secret must leak a bit. So let you all know how competitive China is.
Yeah.
You get a franchisee, they don't pay you. Instead, you got to give them some rebate on their renovation. Give them discount on the display item. Sometimes display also must give free. In China, it's as good as you paying to open a store. But then it's a risk lah. It's a risk because your franchise is you set up your own sales channel So for us, we have a factory and then we need more sales channel. So this is the way that we play the game with them lah. To reward. Punishment, reward, you hit how much KPI, you give me some more rebates and all. But then in other parts of the world, it's very different. They have some form of franchise laws. They don't go around asking for this and that. They believe in your brand. You really need to know which market you're going in. One thing that everybody will agree with me is manpower. So because of it's not that it's a trend in franchising. It's not like sustainability or what. But everybody needs to go into digital, needs to go into AI technology. Why? Because manpower is not that only is expensive. It's because you cannot find. How many people here wants to be retail? My interview is, boss, got to work Saturday, Sunday. I don't want. See, you are in retail, you don't work Saturday, Sunday. Then when you want to work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Then how you earn commission? End of the day, bo pian. You got to digitalize, you got to go e-commerce, and then with the help, Singapore government very helpful on this lah. But outside, your franchisee, how are you going to do this? Because of the environment, no need franchise fee, no need take royalty anymore lah.
But that's not available in Singapore, right?
Not available in Singapore lah. Singapore, I own my own store. I don't franchise in Singapore.
Okay.
So you got to digitize everything. You got to give them a good platform. You can give seminar online. My company becoming training school for my own brand.
I think it's part of the cost, right? If you don't systemize to that level, you can't grow to the next level, right? Must integrate lah, right? As a value add to the processes, so your OPEX will come down, then you can actually, make the business work. What is Supergreen? Like it's a salad store, I know, but what is, just give us a bit more color.
Okay, so a bit more about Supergreen. So basically, we are a salad and a green bowl concept. Basically, most of we have this build your own bowl concept. So basically, you can think of it a bit like Ang Mo Cai Peng. We try to give you healthy, clean food for you to customize your own bowl. We are not vegetarian. We have proteins. We have meats for you all to choose. Then everybody have a choice. So what we want is to empower our customer to choose what they want. Everybody have different needs. If you are losing weight, you might want to choose our sous vide chicken breast and is the lowest calorie, highest protein, right? But if you want some flavors, you can choose yakiniku beef. So that is a bit of higher calorie, but it's still very flavorful.
But it's quite competitive in CBD, right?
Oh, definitely.
I walk downstairs.
Building.
Then how do you kind of stand out and make the business viable?
We are trying to be the most value for money, not the cheapest food, but the most value for money. So in terms of the quality of food, the quantity of food, and then as well as the price point. We're trying to keep the price point as low as we can go to. Customers nowadays, although they are willing to pay, or the people around here, they have the ability to pay, I think everybody are still very conscious about what they're spending on. So we want to make sure that we price our food based on what they get, not based on the high rental, high manpower cost. So we can't say, because high rental, high manpower got to increase the price. But we got to think again, our food worth this amount of money. If it's worth this amount of money, okay, then we can price it. That's important to us. We don't increase the price because our landlord increase our price. We can't. So unless we think that, okay, we improve the quality or we improve the taste or we give more, then we can adjust the price accordingly. Because you got so many ingredients for you, 20 over choices for you to choose, you probably can choose something that you like, and then you can slowly change your eating habits.
Just help me understand, right? Are you then using some sort of like a data system to then, manage your SKUs? Because the more ingredients you have on the plate, then the more complex your supply chain is, right? So how do you kind of manage this thing?
We're still at the initial stage, so we haven't been using data a lot. So why we are trying to, in CBD, we only have that 2 hours of lunch time. So we're trying to go for speed. So we don't have the time for them to key in the ingredients that they choose so that we can get the data. We are really trying to, it's really the Cai Peng style where you point, and then we go next. Yeah, that's it. We usually based on how much we order from the supplier.
From that point of view, right, would you then say it's more affordable to join your brand? Because with more machines, then more capex, right? Every time I invest, I set up a store, I got 3 kiosks, I got all the capex, everything goes in, right? What's the risk reward from there?
So we are trying to keep everything very, very simple. We are using deck ovens. We're not using combi ovens that cost 10 over 1,000. Like ours is 2,000. You save a lot. So we are trying to keep the startup cost as minimal as possible. I mean, everything there's a risk, right? We don't want to put in 200, 300 capex and then after that, you don't know how long you can survive, right? So our equipment costs like 20K because we can range from a small kiosk to 900, 800 square feet depending on location, right? If we have our capex is low, right, the risk is definitely much, much lower. So the break-even time will be much shorter as well. We try to aim for 18 months break-even.
But just a comment about what Shao is saying. Actually, it's not from a lack of knowledge that data makes a difference. In fact, when we started the franchise, we thought that we were going to go that direction. But I must say that over the last few years, Shao has been very busy paring down the level of complexity. And of course, you let go a little bit on what you can get from data. And as a consultant, I'll say, but the data is so important, you can do this. But today, I also have to respect that the customer's needs come first. Shao Rong's success in Supergreen was the fact that he was empathetic with the franchisee. And I think that's one of the reasons the brand continues to be successful and viable.
He essentially is sacrificing some of these data sets, right? And all that. And then the other side of the argument is, you must have all the data, right? Like, you see some of these like big Chinese brands, they come in, right? There's no Q1. It's not that there's no business. It's just everybody already ordered on the app, right? On the way, I walk there, then I reach it, I go already. It's a very different, way of running those franchises, right? So like, what is the gift, or like, how should I evaluate it?
So I think Supergreen's business, it's located where his customers are, right? So it is designed for that, and the timing is important. So accessibility, practical accessibility is there. Of course, there are a lot of brands that are designed so that actually, I was in a seminar yesterday, they were saying that delivery can constitute between 30 to 40% of the outlet's business. Why? Because actually now, and following the China concept, today we've been talking a lot about what the Chinese do, right? But just following on what the Chinese do is the fact that sometimes they even open up pop-ups and then start getting data. And once they've gotten the data, they actually then identify what is the location. And then they keep the balance of the revenue so that the per square foot turnover is kept high, whilst not having to get the biggest, in the old days, you get the most prominent corner store so everybody can see you. Today, it doesn't matter anymore. You function on data and you actually know what is the percentage split between your delivery and your actual in-store sales. But they take it even one step further, which is the fact that from the delivery in China, they will have maybe the WeChat delivery, and then they have the Meituan, and then they have their own apps. So people like Kentucky Fried Chicken or Pizza Hut, they all have their own apps, right? What's happening out there in the public delivery platforms as well as Meituan? And then what they do is they start to convert them onto their own apps so that they start to own their own customer database, which although it's a no-brainer, right? Are you surprised?
No,
but the fact is that it's so systematic and it makes so much sense, especially in today's environment. But when I first started, we just needed to get a very good location. Rental was a very big thing. 10 years down the road, rental was of course still difficult.
Right.
Then it became cost of goods. Like post-COVID, cost of goods became a very prominent element in the profitability of operations of an outlet. Not not to mention franchising. The pressures of a franchise is even higher because you have to handle like royalties and all that as well. Then now there is also the cost of labor, right? So you have no choice but to get smarter with how you structure your business model.
I want to echo the conversation, or at least I want to move the conversation further towards location. Right, towards the choice of space and all that, right? So I know all the inputs are up, right? Everything is up. But let's spend some effort talking about location. Why? Because I was digging through my memory as y'all were talking. I realized Manhattan Fish Market, right, like to open near the food court, right? Like to open near the food center. And then recently there was an article that went out that said that Hock Hwa had a 80% dip in client when the supermarket closed, right? Yeah, the Kallang Leisure Park one, right? So I started to think, oh, there are all these, consumer symbiotic type of situations, so I would definitely love to hear how you guys select your location, why is it important, all the business model aspects of it. Maybe you want to elaborate a bit.
In some ways, it's counterintuitive. You would think that, you want to open in a place where there is no other brand like us. Furniture or salad or coffee brand, right? But the fact is, if there's nobody there, maybe there's no business there, right?
Correct.
So the fact is, you shouldn't be afraid to choose a location where your competitors are, right? That's number one. Number two, I would say that you need to do your research on what type of customers are there and do they have the buying power for your particular positioning. I think one thing is having a lot of people, but another is will they actually do a switch, or are you an alternative? Are you a welcome alternative, or actually you're there and the augmentation actually increases the sales for your competitor? I think you need to know your brand. I would say that actually going down to the location that you want to choose and doing people count. A lot of people don't act like franchisees, right? They will just, I want this location because it's near my house. It's like, like people do that. So I would say that location selection has a lot to do with just look at the location for how it works with your brand rather than how it works for me as an individual. Of course, the actual rental, per square foot rental is very important as well. At the same time, you must make sure that it's accessible because you don't want to end up with a location where the M&E will cost you an arm and a leg and it's not in the projection at all. And so those are all invisible things that you should look out for when looking for a location.
Okay. So tell me a little bit more about location, right? Because 11 locations all in the CBD, you must have some sort of wisdom around this, like how do you look at this thing, like the thought process around choosing the spots.
We are not something that people travel to eat. You need to be convenient. So we started in school. During their lunch break, unlikely they will travel out of school if they still have lectures and then lesson after that, right? So they will eat in school. So we started in school canteen. So every store is packed, is crowded. So it's right. We just need to be at the right place, selling the right food at the right price. That's what we thought. But the problem is the school holidays are too long. And then we need to sell at a much cheaper price point, right? So we went into CBD. We were lucky to go in post-COVID and then we got a good deal. We see some success there that, we are at a good price point and people are there. They need to go down and eat. So from there, we double down on CBD, finding location that they have a good traffic. Like we need some competition. Maybe not direct competitor, but we need other food to be around us. Like people will travel there to look for food, right? It's not like you are standalone. Then it's very hard for you to attract that particular. That means people already set their mind, okay, I want to come here and eat this, right? It's Supergreen. Then they will make the effort to come down. So we need to be at an area that, that people will come down, they can see your brand and you will get the brand awareness. So that is key. And in CBD, we also realized that people are very okay to tapao food.
Oh yeah. I honestly prefer tapao.
I prefer to tapao. That allows us to work with no sitting or with sitting. Although we see better sales with those with sitting, but we are okay to work with no sitting because generally no sitting, you are a smaller outlet, then you have your rental will be lower. So you can achieve some profitability with lower sales, right? Your manpower, you don't need so many people.
Wait, but just to be clear, that means your outlets with sitting actually has a higher ROI than the outlets without sitting.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
So the profitability will be better for those with sitting.
In CBD, are there any other weird costs that people need to be aware of when they're renting spaces, and all that? Just so we understand.
Okay,
this.
so CBD, CBD is a dead town at night. It's a dead town Saturday, Sunday. If you are opening in CBD and they say, you must open until 8 p.m., 9 p.m., 10 p.m., or you need to open on Saturday, Sunday, technically you are losing money. Very different from malls, right? That it get crowded during the weekend, right? So we are lucky that the landlords allow us to close earlier, don't require us to open on Saturday, Sunday. You probably lose money. So we used to open till a bit later for some outlet like 6, 7, but that from 2 to 7, right? You probably don't have like 10 bowls. So we now close at 4 for these outlets, and then we don't waste money trying to operate, right? To just be open. So these are the things we need to talk to the landlord to understand the requirement for opening hours and things like that. And of course, you need to study the place. You need to see how long the queue lasts, right? It can be super crowded at 12, but is it from 11:30 to 1:30, or is it 12 to 12:30? It's the best if you want to evaluate a brand. You really got to stay the whole day, from Monday to Friday or the whole week, because the sales on Monday and Friday drop. People work from home in CBD, right? So Friday is maybe half. Monday maybe 30%, but Friday is half. So we need to go different days. You need to understand your crowd before you make a decision to get into the location. Even those that are out of CBD, we are like at Changi City Point, there's a business
That's as
park
good
there.
as a CBD. Right?
Yeah, Paya Lebar
I think
Square.
The consumer behavior is quite similar.
Yes,
right?
I mean, the right crowd for us, the office crowd lah. Yeah, so we also have Paya Lebar Square, Star Vista, right? These are the lunch crowd or the office crowd. But we do see, these places have a bit of a dinner crowd. The families do come and eat. So that is something that we are looking at. But what we are seeing is that the weekday sales are closing in with the Sunday sales. So it's a good
That means
sign lah.
Biopolis hiring a lot of people. It's a good sign. What about for like retail? Like how do you guys select your location? Kind of give us an idea, like when you're selecting space, because that does sound like one of the biggest,
Yes, definitely.
challenges.
In our industry, space is the biggest challenge because our product is so huge, and then you need to use a lot of space. My Millennial Walk store is already 1,000 square meter. There's a lot of other elements that we look at, really different from F&B. We look at whether their lifts are big enough, whether it facilitate my moving in and out of the mall, and operating hours. When can I move in? When I cannot move in? It's all that kind of thing lah. Renovation only at night can do. This one is across the mall. But moving things, smaller shops, smaller things, you can move in, nobody will make noise. But you move one sofa in the middle of the day, I tell you, the security guard will kick you out. These are the things that we need to watch out for, choosing a space in this particular location. But based on talking about just location, right? I think it has been proven. When you want to buy a new car, where you go?
Everybody is there.
The whole stretch. When you want to buy a used car, you go Ubi, the Auto Mega Mart. It's just human behavior. Compare price, compare design, compare service and all. So why? Because humans, they want to go to a place that they can look for many things at that one go. As a furniture retail store, I cannot be the only one there. Because even if I offer everything in the world, that you come in, you definitely can buy something, but the behavior of the consumer doesn't want that. They want to see you, they want to see someone else, Then maybe eventually they come back to you. But at the end of the day, they still need the choice. So you cannot be like what Hsien said, you cannot be the unique one, just that one person or that one furniture retailer in that mall.
Echoing that, right? The people that have not done business, which are a lot of working professionals, they're very good at what they do, right? But when they're trying to enter the franchise space and enter the business, sometimes they're this kind of warp logic. I just say warp logic because you're like, I don't want to open next to them, I want to open somewhere else, right? And then that's considered a warp logic, right? So are there any other things that you commonly experience that you want to highlight?
Sometimes people underestimate the importance of leadership and managing people. For instance, you might be really good in corporate HR, but when you come into franchising and then the people that you're hiring, they might be just the aunties or the young people who actually maybe they have some specific schedules. They can't comply with everything that your very strict standards are.
They cannot join team bonding, doesn't mean they're not good. Okay?
Exactly.
Important.
And so you'll be amazed that I've got some franchisors who actually took on some of these very corporate types, right? Where actually they had the most difficulty managing their team. Here today, gone tomorrow, because there is no empathy between what are the requirements. Today, the market is not about you, the boss, they, the employee. Now you're the person who's lucky enough to hire and get to groom and maintain the career growth of the person that's working with you. It's a privilege. So I think it's a complete shift in mindset.
One last question. I wanted to ask about what is the fair expectation between the franchisee and the franchisor in terms of like reinvesting in the brand and developing the brand and that whole thing, right? Because I think from a lot of franchisees' point of view, it's okay, I pay you this lump sum, right? I'm participating in your brand. Yes, I get all the SOP, I run the space, but you are making the first layer, right? You take the money, you maybe I take stock from you, I still use your supply chain, everything. You make a layer there, right? So it is what it is, but what is a fair expectation from me as a franchisee or potential franchisee to expect you as a franchisor to reinvest in the brand in X amount of ways lah? You know, like what do you think is fair?
So I would say that besides in reinvesting just for the franchise sake, if you're a brand owner, you need to take care of your brand. You need to keep your brand current, whether or not it's about the aesthetic elements of the brand, right? Keeping your brand refreshed and all, or the brand protocols, or creating new recipes so that customers will come back and have something to look forward to. Or if you're in education, having a different curriculum that keeps up with what's happening in schools and stuff like that. The brand itself is obligated to keep the brand relevant, regardless of whether or not it's an expectation from the franchisee. The franchisor has to do it anyway. Another element I would say is the nature of a franchise is that there is the initial franchise fee, and then there's the royalty, and then of course there is the renewal fee. Generally, I would encourage franchisors not to keep looking at that franchise fee upfront, because franchise is not about only the franchise fee. It's about that whole ecosystem of we are leveraging on the brand, but the brand is also contributing something to us. And because it's contributing to us, that's why we are able to maintain our revenues and our profitability. So likewise, I would say that the franchisor would actually need to continue to look after their franchisee so that they are continuing to grow. The flip side is true too, because if the franchisor is not doing any of those things that you're saying, the franchisee has no reason to continue in the next term, right? So I think that there is some obligation from the franchisor to ensure a balance of, good practices, that the franchisee has franchise unit success, and they can see into their future. In Singapore, it's much more competitive, much more difficult also than other countries, because our leases are generally much shorter than, say, America or Australia. So the franchisee does look to the franchisor to give them continuous support so that they can see their business from one term to another. So I think it's a symbiotic relationship. And of course, I hate to mention this, but the landlords are also very important in this whole equation.
I'll bring them on the show. What do you think is fair? What do you think is a fair expectation when I work with a brand? Should I, before joining, I should already ask them, what's your 5-year plan? What do you plan to do? It's like all those kind of, is that fair? Or like, what do you think is a fair reinvestment rate?
I guess the franchisee want to know whether your brand will still be there.
Of course, important, right?
Yeah, so to me, franchisee need to earn money. They must be profitable. So there's a few things that we want to make sure that we maintain our brand. We will handle all the marketing, right? So we take away the burden of marketing or to manage that. So also the communication part, how to handle some customers that we will do. The continuous R&D, new recipe, trying to follow a trend or giving limited time offers and things like that we'll provide for them. One thing that what we do is that because we have more outlets, right, we have some bargaining power with suppliers. So what we do is we give the savings to the franchisee. We make sure that whatever price we are getting, they are getting. So anything that we don't value add, that means it's direct from supplier. It's not like they don't come through us. So they don't come through us, we mark up and then sell them. So we are not, but because we don't control the whole supply chain, right? We are not that big to control. So so whatever price we get, we'll make sure that the franchisee get it. Which they might not if they are standalone, right? Because of the volume. So these are things that we try to help our franchisees to make sure that they are profitable. I mean, at the end of the day, we treat the outlet like hours. So we will go down, we'll talk to the people, talk to the owner. Sometimes we know their staff as well. So we want to make sure that it's a win-win situation, right? Everybody got to win, right? So we can't be earning all the money. So we are working on that royalty, right? That's it. Right, the rest we try to keep the savings, even for renovation, even for equipment and all the supplies. Right, we try to give whatever the supplier give us, we will give it to you so that you can survive and thrive lah.
But the same cannot be said of every franchise brand. Right?
That I don't know lah. Yeah.
So you must ask, when you go to FLAsia, you must ask, right? Yeah. Any last things?
It's actually
As a
franchisee and franchisor. Nothing is fair one. You want to make money, they also want to make money. That's it. Yeah. But then the thing is, I think franchisee and franchisor, end of the day, is a love-hate relation. When everything is good, we partner.
Yeah.
When things hit, we jialat that time, seller, buyer.
Help.
They will tekan the franchisor until jialat one. This is already, everybody is practicing this. So end of the day, the more you take, the more you need to give. For example, like what Hsien say, I collect this, collect that. Of course, when I start business, I want to collect everything. End of the day, you collect all this, you got to give more. They are expecting more from you. Vice versa, they want more discount from me, they want more help from me. End of the day, I say, hey, maybe your $500,000 KPI cannot, I want 1 million. Because I need to cover my costs. They also need to cover their costs. So end of the day is how we can have this relationship that is have a lot of consensus, how to make you more profitable, how to make me more profitable. And sometimes for brand owners, most of the time, I would say it's not about being profitable. It's more about brand exposure. If you think long term, the more points you have, gradually what you have more customer, that's number one, but you will gain more franchisees also. The opportunity is there for people to say, hey, this guy open 10 already, 20 already. That means business must be good. But then the objective behind the brand may not be profitability, it's exposure. The more you expose, the more chance you have. Being customer, being potential franchisees. Yeah. And on this note, when you grow, data is very important.
Understand.
Because now a lot of brand, my own data I collect. If you got franchisee, you want to take data from them. I tell you, you pay them money, they also don't give you. This brand of coffee, I think you all know lah. Haven't reached there, already order. Reach there, just take.
Yeah.
They in Singapore, they are franchisee, but their data go to who?
The franchisor.
So you get everybody's data. Doesn't need to be your direct customer. It could be your franchisee's customer, but you still get the data. Then you know what to sell, what to stock more, where's the location, everything. It's just data. Everything must be analyzed by data nowadays. Even creativity, innovation is not gut feel anymore. It has to be backed by data analysis.
Fair. At the end of the day, it's all cost, reward analysis, right? Like risk reward, you see whether it makes sense at what point of the business, and as a franchisee also at what point of your business, right? How does this thing grow and how you expect your franchise brands to grow along with you, right? So ultimately, I think we had a great discussion today, right? There are definitely a lot more intricacies depending on the industry you're in, which kind of price point you want to enter at, and the different brands out there. There's always new trends, new ideas. So I hope you pick up something interesting today, and we'll see you at FLAsia 2025 to look at some of the other brands out there. I think this year there's a wider range, right? Yes. They also got Hawkerpreneur, also got a lot of new interesting licenses, right? So different set of stuff as compared to last year. And most important, must visit us. Come to our booth, take photo, say hi to us. We'll see you there. And with that, thank you for your time. Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
We'll see all of you next week with another episode of Chills with TFC. Bye-bye.
Bye.